People do ask, why do you preserve modern architecture? But they don't ask that about a lot of other kinds of architecture. And modern architecture is just part of the continuity of human existence.
We look toward preservation not as some old relic from the past, but more as something vibrant and useful and important for us as contemporary working architects to think about and learn from.
You know, we have to stop thinking of modern architecture as other, but actually just part of this whole human story of trying to create places for us to live, work, have community, and do all the things that have always been important to people.
Modern architecture, particularly in Los Angeles, really has defined who we are as a city. We are a city that's known for its architectural experimentation, for the architectural avant-garde, for being on the cutting edge, and really shaped not only how we live in Los Angeles, but post-World War II living around the country and around the world.
If any architecture is worth preserving, why not that architecture that for over a century has been called modern? It is the major statement, the major architectural statement of the 20th century. And it has, in many ways, defined the 20th century built environment.
Los Angeles is such a great example of post-war architecture. It's really distinctive Los Angeles interpretation of international style, and certainly the case study homes and the imagery of what Southern California lifestyle is about. Photographed by Julius Shulman absolutely beautifully, and then printed in magazines that really were geared to the general public as opposed to specifically to the architectural community, I think did so much in establishing Los Angeles as the city of the future.
Modernism allowed us to break away walls, to remove the burden of structure, and it thought about structure in a much lighter, airier, more expressive manner. And that allowed the interior spaces to connect, to speak with, to communicate with the exterior.
When you walk into a house that's been restored to the blueprint, it hums. There's a music. And you can feel it when you walk into the space.
What excites me about this period is the exploration that was going on, the sense of adventure. They were using new materials, they were using them in new ways. That space no longer needed to be defined by just the solid wall, but it could be defined with large expanses of glass, simple materials, commercial materials. Ornament could be the structure itself.
The honest expression of material. Steel doesn't lie, concrete doesn't lie, even bricks don't lie. They let you know when there's a problem. I've lived in many different types of houses, and what I can tell you is you always know when there's a problem with modern architecture because it's right there. Nothing's hiding.
The rewards of living in a house like this are you have a living space unlike anything else. And so when people come over, they're absolutely mesmerized. The drawbacks of living in a place like this are it is probably one of the most difficult places to maintain. And simple things from changing a light bulb or changing a cracked window become virtually impossible.
We're dealing with innovative materials, aluminum, stucco, veneer wood, plywood, steel windows, sliding glass doors, sometimes flat roofs. And because the materials are aging differently, we need to really come to grips with the issue of historic resources and the retention of historic fabric.
The modern era is a really extraordinary period of innovation. We have incredibly rich and diverse forms of architectural expression represented during that period. So it's really an imperative that we find ways to conserve it.
Hopefully we're becoming more sophisticated, more informed as a society, that we're a little quicker to understand the value of our resources and the importance of holding on to them.
We've always had that sense of the most recent past is not something we care about. We're looking toward the future, which is a good thing. And so much about modern architecture was about looking to the future. There was such a sense of optimism in Los Angeles in post-war, and a lot of these buildings really embrace that sense of optimism. I mean, you can't look at the Century Plaza Hotel and not sort of feel the suite. This is about good things are on the way and California at its best. And that's why we need to save that optimistic architecture.
I think first and foremost is an understanding of the importance of these buildings in the continuum of the history of Los Angeles. And I'm not sure we're there yet. I think we're there with older buildings, and I think the Los Angeles Conservancy has done an incredible job with their advocacy on behalf of historic landmarks. But to describe a 1958 building or a 1960 or 64 building as a historic landmark is still an oxymoron to some people in the city. And until there's an understanding of why their preservation is important and to help define what's significant, architecturally significant about them, we'll still be having that conversation.
Proper conservation means that big-scale preservation may not be necessary. If things are steadily conserved, then there's no need for a radical intervention.
Obviously, we're not the first organization to think about this. ICOMOS, DOCOMOMO, the National Trust for Historic Preservation have all helped us understand the importance of modern architecture.
The Conserving Modern Architecture initiative aims to advance this emerging area of practice through scholarship, through scientific research and its practical application in the field, and through the creation and dissemination of critical literature that can assist professionals working in this area of practice.
We think we have a special role in it, in as much as we're headquartered here in Los Angeles, a center of the modernism movement and great modern architecture nationally, internationally.
GCI has been an invaluable partner for the City of Los Angeles, working together with us in making possible Survey LA, our citywide historic resources survey, where we are now comprehensively identifying what's significant of our modern resources in Los Angeles.
What I think we can bring are the considerable resources of the Getty to some very vexing problems that face the conservation community as it relates to 20th century buildings. We've been involved in the realm of architectural conservation for a long time, but with traditional buildings. And this is now an opportunity to shift our focus to an area of proven need. And I think through a multi-year research program, we can build some real change and create some real resources for the conservation community, and we're really excited about it.